Introduce our very special guest today, Mr. Thomas Jefferson.
Thank you. Cynthia, is it?
It is.
I have always admired your forebears from the New England states and appreciated their collaboration with us in the fight for freedom. Well done. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, friends, Presbyterians, fellow countrymen. What a unique privilege it is for me to be here with you this morning on this Independence Day weekend. It's hard to believe it's been 239 years now. I want to thank your pastor for the invitation to come and for the imagination that it took for me to be here with you this morning. Look at where he went. Sort of a Clark Kent kind of thing. But now with your imagination, and with the wonders of the Wayback Machine, I'm here. And by the way, I remember, or I've been told that that your pastor, what's his name? Thomas J. Beery. Yes, Thomas J. Beery is a real student of history, and in particular American history, and even more particular than that, American religious history. And I understand he's been quite a fan of mine throughout his lifetime. Perhaps it has something to do with his name and his initials. There is a similarity. I wonder when he was growing up, if his friends called him TJ, like they called me. I also understand that his son has an even more similar name, Thomas Jeffrey Beery, who goes by Jeff. And his daughter, Bree, attended and graduated from that hallowed institution, the University of Virginia, which I am so very, very proud of. Although I must say I like their name Cavaliers better than Wahoos. What is a Wahoo anyway? But even more directly, Tom's wife, Brian, is from the first families of Virginia stock, FFV. She comes from the Bryan family, the Jennings family, the Jennings-Bryan family, and the Wise, Henry Wise, who became the governor of Virginia long after I served. But talking about the University of Virginia, founding that institution in Charlottesville was one of my 3 proudest moments. The other 2 were authoring the Declaration of Independence, and thirdly, authoring the Statute for Religious Freedom for the state of Virginia, which became the precursor to the First Amendment's guarantee of religious freedom. But we'll get back to those momentarily. On my tombstone in Charlottesville, Virginia, at my beloved Monticello, and how many of you have been to Monticello? Most of you. And how many of you made the trip down to the grave area where that tombstone is. And you'll see what I asked to have inscribed there, and was inscribed, are these words. Here was buried Thomas Jefferson, author of the Declaration of Independence, author of the Statute of Virginia Religious Freedom, and father of the University of Virginia. Those are my three proudest achievements. Now, people are surprised that I didn't even make mention of the fact that I was the third president of the United States. But the three that I have engraved, I believe, are more important and more enduring. Now, it's been a long time since many of you have taken your high school or college history courses. So I want to take just a minute or two to review or refresh your mind a bit about my background and what was going on in the colonies at that time. I was born April the 13th, 1743 in Shadwell, Virginia, which then was part of Goochland County, now it's part of Albemarle County. I was born into a somewhat privileged planter's class. I was educated and tutored at a school that was run by a Scotch Presbyterian pastor. And then I attended the College of William and Mary. I became an attorney. I was elected to the state legislature and then to the Continental Congress. Later, I was a member of the United States Congress. I was the governor of Virginia. I was ambassador to France. I was the first ever Secretary of State, the second ever Vice President of the United States, and the third ever President, serving 2 terms from 1801 to 1809. What important times those were. Foundational times for our country. In fact, many folks think of me as one of the founding fathers, and I guess I am, but there were so many more. You see my face on postage stamps, on the nickel, and on the $2 bill. A $2 bill? What's that all about? I've been memorialized on Mount Rushmore, at the Jefferson Memorial in Washington, D.C., and colleges and universities, and even have a national forest named after me. Some of my legacy you may not know. I wrote a manual for parliamentary procedure, which is still in use today of the U.S. House of Representatives. I furthered the exploration of the Northwest Territories, sent off Lewis and Clark, who were neighbors and friends of mine, helped with the Cumberland Road, the establishment of West Point as our first military academy, and sought the uniformity of weights and measures and coinage that you enjoy today. Oh yes, the Louisiana Purchase came about also. It's more than double the size of our territory. I was probably a better writer than orator, truth be told. I love to read, and I love to learn, and I collected books, and I bequeathed my extensive library, what would become the Library of Congress. As an architect, I designed my home at Monticello, the Rotunda at the University of Virginia, the Virginia State Capitol, and the colonnades that are at the White House to this day, all based on neoclassical designs. I was a botanist, a geographer, inventor, and vintner. Looking back, I don't know how I had time to do it all. Plus, raise a family as a single father, as my beloved wife of 10 years, Martha, died. Ironically, poignantly, I died the same 1926. How ironic. The 50th anniversary to the day, the signing of the Declaration of Independence, two of us passed away. In fact, I had been invited to attend that celebration, but because of ill health, I had to regrettably decline. It would have been a wonderful day. It would have been wonderful to be there. So in my letter to Roger Whiterman, declining the invitation, which, by the way, is the last letter I believe I ever wrote, I said of this day, July the 4th, may it be to the world what I believe it will be, the signal of an arousing of men to burst the chains and to assume the blessings and the security of self-government. That form we have substituted restores the free right to the unbounded exercise of reason and freedom. All eyes are now open, or are opening, to the rights of men. For ourselves, let the annual return of this day forever refresh our recollections of these rights and an undiminished devotion to them. You see, I hoped that 50 years later, for that celebration. And I understand it is still going on even to this day. And what you continue to do in this great free land. Celebrating and renewing and refreshing your devotion to our nation and to its founding principles. You know, it's never easy. I'm sure it's not easy now. I'm sure there are still struggles and battles to be fought and won. But it certainly wasn't easy in 1776 either. While I was busy drafting my draft of the Declaration, George Washington was writing a letter to his wife, Martha. Martha was a popular name then as now. And here in part are his words, written July 3rd, 1776. Dear Martha, in a few days you will see a declaration setting forth the causes which have impelled us and the reasons which will justify us in the sight of God and man. I am fully aware of the toil and blood and treasure it will take to maintain this declaration and support and defend these states. Yet through all the gloom, I can see the rays of ravishing light and glory. Benjamin Franklin had said much the same thing when he famously remarked at one of our gatherings about a sun that was engraved on a chair in our chamber there, whether it was a setting sun or a rising sun. He said, and I remember it to this day, he believed it was a rising sun, heralding the dawn of the new day of freedom. Yes, those were memorable times, heady times, exciting times, scary times. I was just 33 years old. We knew that England would not take this sitting down. We knew that simply declaring it wouldn't make it so. And yet we proceeded because we believed it was the right thing to do. Right in our eyes, right in God's eyes, and we hoped right in the eyes of our fellow man. In fact, one of the reasons that we wrote and declared this Declaration of Independence, quite frankly, was to galvanize public opinion throughout the colonies. Well, the colony of Virginia had by herself 2 months previously already declared her independence. But no one colony could go alone. We knew that. And so on July the 2nd, 1776, when the Continental Congress met, we voted for independence. And by the way, that is the day we thought would be celebrated as our Independence Day, the date that we voted and declared that we would become free and independent states. It was 2 days later, on July the 4th, when my draft was presented back to the Congress that became the official date. There were 5 of us that were appointed to draft the Declaration. I thought that John Adams should do it. He thought that I should do it. And we went back and forth. We said, you should do it because you're from Virginia, and Virginia has taken the lead in this. He said, you should do it because I'm a rascal and unpopular. And you are more popular than I am. And then he said, and most importantly, you should do it because you are a better writer than I am. So he prevailed. Although the writing is primarily my work, many of the ideas actually came from John Locke and from the Enlightenment. I just put them together in a new way and applied them to our situation with good editorial help